color the iris was. So she was like, let me open your eyes and I'll see what color your iris is. So she looks in Janet's eyes and she finds out that they were brown. And she says, you know, Janet, the iris is the part of the eye that opens and closes in order to determine how much light gets in, and it's made of little muscles. Janet says, that's so cool. The pupils in my class told me that it was actually a hole in the middle of the iris that lets the light in. And she was like, no, that's not right. So then she's like, well, first we're going to check your ciliary muscles just to see if you have trouble focusing, because if you had trouble focusing, there might be a problem with the ciliary muscles. And the ciliary muscles are the muscles in the back of the iris that allow, that allow it to open and close and change the shape of the lens. And then Janet was like, well, I don't even know what a lens is. And she's like, let me tell you. The lens focuses the light behind the pupil, held by the vitreous humor. She's like, wow, humor. I like humor. Well, if you like humor, then let me tell you about your other friends, aqueous and virtuous.
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 He spelled it wrong. It's virtuous.
Because the aqueous humor actually is the fluid behind your cornea. Here, let me show you, she said. So she got this little dissecting kit, and she cut open a little cow's eye, and she was like, look, here's some fluid right there. It's right in there. And she was looking in it, and then she was like, oh, well, there's also the vitreous humor, which is the liquid surrounding the lens, which holds the lens in place. And it's also on the inside of the eyeball, and it's very viscous. She's like, well, thank you so much for all of this, but now how are you going to help me correct my eyes? And she's like, well, you can take some eye drops, which won't reach the retina because it's in the back of the eyeball, and those are made of rods and cones. And if you can't see something, that's because there's the spot that's a blind spot because there are no rods and cones near the optic nerve. And if you were a cow, then you would have a tapetum and choroid, and here's the lollipop.
Let me start off by saying I think we are all a little bit dumber after hearing it.
You still look really Madison, so it's not that funny.
Oh, but it is.
But it is.
Yeah, it was actually really funny. I was laughing on the inside.
So my story begins with a light particle. This light particle is a very particular, creative little light particle that didn't really do much with his family and didn't do a lot with his friends.
Is this a Vietnam speech?
Where'd he go? Are
So,
you really reading?
this light particle decided it was going to go somewhere. It decided it was going to go into your eye.
This is bad.
Interesting approach.
This light particle wanted to go on a journey like no other.
Okay,
This is really bad.
it's not like some jerk.
It is though, it is! For this light particle, it's more than that.
Eden, take it seriously.
So this light particle stepped into the cornea, the clear protective covering of the eye. As it traveled through the cornea and tried to get through all of its cuts and gyps and what, it went straight through the iris and into the pupil. Into the pupil, through the pupil, it traveled into the lens, through the ciliary, through the
He doesn't even know how an eyeball works. Let Eden tell a story now.
and back into
Zach, you don't even know what you're talking about.
oh no, I'm sorry, I'm back. And then came back and through into the retina.
Blaine, what do you think about all
The
this?
retina,
Vote for me.
in the retina,
vote for
it fought many rods and cones, but came out. It was a light particle. It fought them. Yeah, it fought them. Yeah. In this journey, it fought them. Don't argue. Shut up.
fine. Okay, guys. Okay, what I'm looking for, Zach was a little closer with
Oh, what the?
With-
That's right. Thank you.
No.
I'll accept my Nobel
With-
Prize.
giving me.
All right, everybody in here.
Guys, 3, 2, 1. Okay. I like that he was showing me sort of the passage of light through these different things.
You didn't like the
Now we
Nazarians
know
in
there
my
were
story?